their dreams. That's Norwest, where our greatest dream is the fulfillment of yours.
If your dreams include college, pick up a scholarship application at your local Norwest Bank today.
Nothing is impossible if someone, somewhere, believes in you. Norwest Bank, to the nth degree.
Say yes to Express. Express Communications, a long-distance company created by South Dakotans for South Dakotans. Today, Express serves over 80,000 customers statewide, utilizing South Dakota's only fiber optic network. Express Communications, delivering clear, dependable long-distance service and keeping your dollars at home where they can help all of us. Say yes to Express.
It's your company.
Remembering South Dakota AIDS victims, the story after the games.
This is KELOLAND Newsbreak. I'm Carol Nesbitt. Coming up on 10 at 10, we'll take you to a very special memorial service here in Sioux Falls for families and friends who have lost a loved one to AIDS. And we'll take a little road trip to Garrettson, where the folks there are lighting up the town for visitors from Sioux Falls, including carolers and hayrides. Catch all the action tonight at 10. Now this from Heartland Chevy.
Explorer was quite a vehicle in its day, but the Chevy Blazer is coming through in '95 with an all-new design packed with value features. See a Heartland Chevy dealer today.
Christy Vermullum says you probably won't like the forecast. We'll have that, plus the latest from the girls' state basketball championships. Join us.
This is the eagle. It is the strongest and bravest of all birds. It symbolizes the great spirit of the Lakota people, and its feathers are sacred. It represents a value we all must possess: courage. Courage to face decisions and not run from them. Courage to make wise choices in this precious thing we all share called life.
McKinnon Hospital's Caring for Life series presents this medical moment.
Heart attacks are something most people think happened to someone else, but for Sioux Falls resident Greg Devitt, it became reality.
I asked the doctor if he had a heart attack, and the doctor said, no, he's having a heart attack.
If you suspect you're having a heart attack, don't ignore the symptoms. The Heart Center at McKinnon Hospital is your resource for state-of-the-art treatment and diagnosis of heart disease.
This medical moment is brought to you by McKinnon Hospital because we care about your life.
Tonight, a family near you may sleep a little better than they did the night before, simply because someone cared and listened to their financial dreams about college for their kids, providing for each other, and their plans for growing old together. They talked to a Farm Bureau agent about life insurance and learned how dreams don't always have to stay dreams. Life is filled with promises, and Farm Bureau Life Insurance can help you keep them.
I like my job. I like working with people, and I like Canon copiers. Best sells the best.
It makes my job a lot easier keeping our customers happy. When I sit down with a customer, the first thing we do is find out what he really needs. The Canon copier that is best in terms of output, features, and cost. Then we work out a deal.
I don't have to sell Canon copiers. They sell themselves. But it's up to me to see to it that every Best Business Products client gets exactly what he needs and at the right price. It's the best way to do business.
And welcome back to the Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota, where we await the state AA high school championship game for the girls. It'll be Mitchell or Watertown, in Yankton. And speaking of Yankton, we have longtime head coach, now athletic director at Watertown, Bob Winter. And Bob, we've been kind of sitting around and chatting and talking a little bit just kind of about the state of girls basketball and how far it's come. Or where do you see the game right now in the state?
Well, I see it right now as a high-level spot, especially in the bigger schools because of the numbers, and a long way from 20 years ago when we started here. First state tournament for AA, for example, was in '75, and we had won that tournament, but our girls had only played 2 years. Then in '76, we played here in the Corn Palace. Think about it, those girls really had only played 2 and 3 years at the most. Now down the road, 20 years, all schools, from the smallest schools in South Dakota to the biggest schools in South Dakota, all have programs. They all have coaches, and kids go to summer camps, kids play, and there are some real quality basketball players in every classification. One of the things that my concern is somewhat the season. We're one of 4 states that only that have girls basketball in the fall. The rest have girls basketball in the wintertime. We're a flip-flop with volleyball. Sometimes I think that really helps us because girls have availability of gymnasiums, but sometimes I think maybe that hurts our overall program from the standpoint of publicity, nationwide especially. But if you look at the number of Division I girls that are playing and Division II girls that are playing, South Dakota girls probably can stack up with anybody in the United States.
Yeah, and I would have to agree just to a certain extent. I think being kind of focused in the fall helps the recruiting. We have, of course, Jenny Larson from your school, and we saw Becky Hammond and what she can do, and Aaron Olson. Those are three players that are all going Division I. You have coached and seen the Van Gores, the Hawardas, the Schulers. How are the elite players? Where do they set, do you think?
Well, I think the elite players can play with the best ones. Division I, in my opinion, has a couple of levels. There's the Division I Iowa, and there's Division II, maybe a little bit lower level, even though they're all called themselves Division I. But I think there's two divisions in it. These girls can play within that Division I. Now, I'll just take our school, for example. We've had 5 girls play Division I basketball. These girls can play with them. They have quickness, jumping ability. They all have some offensive ability. I think the thing you see in AA basketball especially, they can all play defense. And they tend to somewhat neutralize each other. But the best kids have those skills. One of the things I think we started in South Dakota 20 years ago that continues today is that our kids play literally year-round. Maybe they do that in the other states, maybe not. But because of that, some of the offensive skills, we'll take Becky Hammond, those kids can flat out shoot jump shots. Well, I don't care what state you're from, they can play and they can play at Division I level.
Okay, personally for you, Bob, this is third year removed from being the head coach, and after all those years on the bench, and I know Doug and I was kind of kidding him a little bit. Now that you moved from head coach to AD, not as much money in the traveling budget. We're just kidding around back and forth. What is it about the game that you love, you miss, and there are certain things that in your position now that really kind of lend itself to not being a head coach, right?
Well, I miss tonight. I miss the action, the competition. That's where the coaching is at. And you work all week long and all year long literally to get here. And so that's the part I miss. Now, on the other hand, when you're activities director, you have a lot of challenges. You're trying to have the best band in the state, the best debate team in the state. You're trying to have an overall athletic program that's good. And in our case, in Yankton, we're trying to build a new facility. We've got a multi-million-dollar high school common use facility with our community. We'll have a nice big new gymnasium recreation complex. And everybody has some version of those problems. And so you just find a new set of problems that your job is to solve. But I also miss really working individually one-on-one with the kids. That's the thing that's really down the line is tough.
All right, thank you very much, Bob, for stopping by. You can tell he's got the Yankton red, and you can also tell it's Santa season. I don't know if you can see that, Mike, but he's got his little Santa Claus
Our first
tie on.
Christmas present tonight.
Is it? Okay, he hopes. We are at the half, and between games, waiting for our championship contest, and we'll be back to Mitchell.
In searching for employment, which is more important? Who you know or what you know? Well, if you know who we are, then you'll also know what is necessary for a great career. Mitchell Technical Institute.
We share a common vision of a new frontier in farming. A time and place where there will be new ways to produce more corn from the land while doing less to the land. That time is now. That place is here. Welcome to the New Frontier. New Frontier herbicide. Best against grass. Best for the land.
Kettleland TV, home of the 95 Boys State B Basketball Championship.
Back at the Corn Palace, we're waiting for the Yankton Gazelles and the Mitchell Colonels to get ready to tip it off here. We're about 9 minutes away from tip-off. That's going to be a good one. Stay with us for that. Whether it's girls basketball or boys basketball in South Dakota, few players reached the 1,000-point mark in their careers. Right now, we're going to take a look at one of those. Kettleland's Stacy Bauer previews one young superstar from Hurley who reached that milestone and much more.
This was a sight early in the girls' basketball season. Just a few minutes into a Hurley game, center Kim Gertis reached 1,000 points. An amazing feat for any player, especially a junior.
I'm so excited because, I don't know, it feels great to make 1,000 points. Because I'm a junior and I can make a bit more.
Kim did make more. She finished the season with close to 1,300 points. She also averaged 20 points and 12 boards a game this year. And in one game, Kim walked off the court with 32 points. She's the type of player a head coach loves to have on his side.
She goes for every loose ball. She goes for all the rebounds. She's a very smart player that if she's open for a shot, she can shoot it. If not, she's not too selfish whereby she can pass the ball. So she's got to be at least top 5 that I've ever seen, that's for sure.
Kim rarely misses a shot under the net, and rebounds are no problem for this 6-foot center.
Kim is probably the best player, especially Class B or A, that I've ever seen, just because she works so hard out there.
For Kim Gertis, hard work definitely kept the scoreboard operator busy this season. In Hurley, Stacy Bauer, Kettleland Sports.
Kim Gertis, pretty good player down there for Hurley. Right now, we're going to go down on the floor and talk with Yankton head coach Doug Pasica. Lee, take it away.
All right, thanks, Tom. Doug, your biggest concern with Mitchell is?
I think we're going to have to stop their inside game with Nancy Ullman. We've kind of had some trouble with that this year. And then we'd like to be able to contain Aaron Olson on the top. So those are probably our two biggest concerns.
And I know when you guys have the basketball, it'll be fun for us to watch the way that both Olson goes up against Jenny Larson. They've matched up all year, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Well, probably ever since they were sophomores. Aaron has always guarded Jenny. She's guarded her very tough. So it'll really be an interesting matchup between those two.
And I know that it was kind of a tale of two games, even though Mitchell won both of the regular meetings. The first one was a close contest, and the game here was one that you don't like to think about from a score standpoint, but you did say that it was not a bad loss because since then, things have gone great, right?
Well, if there's such a thing as a good 25-point loss, that would have had to be it because we really weren't very focused at that time, and it got beat really bad here. And since that time, our kids have been really focused and really have played a lot better since then.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Doug Pasica, head coach of the Yankton Gazelles. Tom?
All right, Lee, thank you. One of the players that we've been following here in the last couple of days at this tournament is one of those players for Doug Pasica, Jenny Larson. Caught our eye before the tournament even started here. It was won a great game in the district championship game against Sioux Falls, Washington. Earlier last week, I had a chance to go down to Yankton and sit down and talk with Jenny Larson and her coach.
Larson netted a lot of attention when she netted 36 points against Washington 2 weeks ago in the district championship game.
The ball just kind of seemed to go in for me, and my teammates did a good job of setting screens and getting me the ball.
I think it was a situation where, Jenny's at the end of her career now as a senior. She's played 4 years of varsity basketball, so I think she kind of wants to go out with a bang here, and I think the Washington game was a start.
Larson started dribbling when she was in diapers. She started shooting hoops when she was knee-high.
That's when I started to begin to love the game of basketball. I was just kind of a tomboy, growing up, always playing with the guys at recess.
She is a smooth player. I think she makes a lot of the plays she makes look effortless, and I think that's a sign of a very good player when they make things look easy, and Jenny does that. She makes a lot of plays that, other girls maybe don't make.
Pasica says Larson's game has matured as she has matured. She'd always been a good jump shooter, but has added the ability to put it on the floor and take it to the rack. She's talented, she's hardworking, and she's coachable.
Yeah. It'll be tough to replace her, but, that's just part of the game, I guess. You got to let her move on. She's going to be going to Creighton.
And at Creighton, she will join Becky Flynn of Wakanda and Holly Stevenson of Sioux Falls.
And when I went down there on my recruiting visit, Holly was kind of my host. I stayed with her, and so I talked to her a lot about you know, high school basketball and college basketball and the differences between the two. And she's kind of got me looking forward to playing college basketball. So.
But first, she has one more game left in her high school career before she heads out to play that college basketball down in Creighton and Omaha. Accept the challenge is the ATC on the Yankton Gazelles shirts there as they warm up. It'll be a big challenge with Gary Munson and the Colonels. Lee Timmerman has him on the floor right now. Lee?
Yes, Tom, with head coach Gary Munson. Gary, we're in the Corn Palace. Definitely not the building that Gary built because it's 101 years old and you're not that old. But it's a tradition here you've sustained with 8 championship banners hanging up with the boys and the girls going for another one here. This place has a special heart for Colonel fans, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. We draw a great crowd for girls basketball. We also draw a great crowd for boys basketball, too. It's kind of a traditional thing. Boys have won 13 banners, and the girls have gotten a good start and won 2 now. So.
Talk a little bit about the keys to this game as you see it. Start first from a defensive standpoint, and when you do that, you start with looking at Jenny Larson, right?
Well, of course, her and Aaron will probably match up. You know, sometimes Jenny doesn't guard Aaron, but Aaron normally guards Jenny, has all the years they played against each other. Sometimes Jody Dirks will guard her too, but that's kind of a key matchup. Becker and Oman inside, and Sealer and Dirks are a matchup too, and then we kind of go from there. But it'll come down to who stays out of foul trouble and who contains each other. And you know, if they'll play man-to-man and we'll play man-to-man, it should be a heck of a game. You know, he might switch and play his zone, and if he does, we'll just have to be able to attack it, hit some outside shots tonight.
And taking care of the basketball is of utmost importance. Is that correct?
Yeah. We usually do a good job of that, but we haven't done a real good job of that in this tournament, taking care of the basketball like we're capable of.
All right.
That's a plus right there for us. We can do that tonight.
And I know Doug would say the same thing. Yeah, I know that turnovers is things that both of these coaches do not want.
All right, sir, there you see the Colonels 22-0. They got to this championship game by beating Sioux Falls Roosevelt in the first round. They beat Stevens in that thriller last night here, 36-35 in overtime. Now, Yankton and Mitchell has become a pretty good rivalry in the last couple of years. Yankton was 11-3 in the conference this year in the ESD. One of those losses was to Watertown. The other 2 were to the Mitchell Colonels. Mitchell beat Yankton in the semis of last year's tournament up in Watertown. So Yankton is really chomping at the bit to get another shot at these Mitchell Colonels. But Yankton comes in at 18-4. Mitchell, of course, unbeaten. Mitchell is 67-1 in the last 3 years under Gary Munson.
What?
He's 67-1. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do.
A lot of those banners hanging up here in the Corn Palace have Gary Munson's name at the bottom of them. As he said, 6 of them with the boys, including last year's boys title for the Mitchell Colonels, and 2 of them with the girls, 1990 and 1992. This is actually the 4th straight championship game for Mitchell. They were 2nd last year, 1st in 90 and 92, and in 2nd in 1991 when Pier beat them here in the Corn Palace.
Which is a very interesting story about that Pier game, because knowing how Erin Olsen made the shot last night as a freshman, she had a similar situation, a breakaway layup, and it didn't quite go in.
Let's go down right now to Steve Culhane for the starting lineups.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to the Corn Palace. And tonight, the championship game of the State Class AA girls basketball. In tonight's game, we have the Colonels of Mitchell High School against the Gazelles of Yankton High School. Let's meet the cheerleaders of both schools. First for Yankton, they are Rochelle Muxfeld, Lori Kopel, Carrie Baldwin, Jessie Teachout, Steph Sprecher, and Becca Hayes. Their advisors, Peg Ellingson and Christy O'Connell. Let's meet the cheerleaders for the Mitchell Colonels. They are Jennifer Hinson, Kim Schmidt, Jennifer Fryer, Mickey Fettrell, Kim Kiner, Christina Dosher, and Nicole Line. Their advisor is Sherry Olson. Now let's meet the starting lineups for tonight's championship game on an alternating basis. First, at one guard for the Mitchell Colonels, number 11, Aaron Olson. At guard for Yankton, number 10, Jenny Larson. At guard for the Colonels, number 23, Jody Dirks. At guard for the Gazelles, number 12, Steph Sealer. At one forward for the Colonels, number 33, Kelly Music. At guard for the Gazelles, number 34, Shanti Alta. At forward for the Colonels, number 52, Susie Sudrilla. At forward for the Gazelles, number 44, Jennifer Halstead. At center for the Colonels, number 32, Nancy Oman. And at center for the Gazelles, number 52, Carissa Becker. The assistant coaches for the Gazelles, Amy Long, Mark Beese, and Scott Gerdes. The assistant coaches for the Colonels, Deb Carter, Clint Keywell, and Steve Stanford. The head coach for the Yankton Gazelles is Doug Pasica, and the head coach for the Mitchell Colonels is Gary Munson. Your officials for tonight's championship game are Gillis Stern and Mike Begerman.
Well, Tom, we're